Are you worried about today's dire financial situation?
Put simply, I would argue the Biden economic plan is working.
The storms on Wall Street continued today after regulators seized the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, marking the largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis.
Do you worry you'll have enough to pay your mortgage, pay your children's college tuition, enough to retire?
I believe our banking system remains strong.
Regional banks in focus once again today as the market digests the fallout of the First Republic failure.
You have questions, we have answers. It's the Gold Standard with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.
Thank you for joining us. It is the Gold Standard Radio Show. Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn together, and it is our holiday spectacular. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Ken Russo.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, the last show of 2023.
Can you believe it?
You know how I see it?
Tell me.
One more year, Scranton Joe.
I like to call him, what do I call him? The sniffer from Scranton. That's what I like to call him, yeah. He does love to sniff, but you know what? One more year of him. We've got an election year coming ahead. 2024 promises to have, well, more wild stuff. That's for sure.
Maybe a year. He might not even make a year.
That's
As it is,
also
he wakes
very
up
true.
with a pill and probably goes to bed with a pill. So it's, whatever.
Probably smashed in his applesauce, don't you think?
Yeah.
Little jam, little jelly, little jello.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we are going to have some holiday fun today because while it is a serious topic, we're going to look back at the year in review. We're going to go back through 2023 and talk about why now is probably the absolute right time to add precious metals to your investment portfolio. We'll talk about Midas Gold Group in a few moments, but before we can look back at the year, Ken Russo.
Just the facts, people.
Just
the facts.
We must think about how we got here. And by doing that, we need to bring in one more time, for the last time in 2023.
He's here.
He's here, President Richard Nixon.
Merry Christmas. God damn it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were on a gold standard. Our money was backed by gold, and then in 1933 they took that away from American citizens. They made the ownership of gold illegal, but the gold market was still pegged at $35 an ounce due to Bretton Woods Agreement, made the dollar the world reserve currency, up until 1971 when the United States started running out of gold. All these other countries started to catch on, and they said, send us the gold. We don't want these dollars anymore. Send us the gold. So we had to put a end to that. So Tricky Dick took the dollar off of the gold standard in 1971, and that defines fiat money for people that are listening for the first time, F-I-A-T, fiat, backed by nothing. It also allowed the price of gold to trade on its own. $1 in 1970 is now worth, 12 cents.
Right.
And $1 of gold in 1970 is now worth $70. Big difference, and that's what we're talking about. And did 2023 provide more reasons to say, hey, maybe I should convert some of my paper assets into something like gold?
That's real and tangible.
Well, and that's what we're going to go over, just the facts.
Just the facts today.
So what should we start with?
Well, let's start. How about, this is the one that I think does not get enough attention in the mainstream news media because it should be talked about all the time. Bank failures do not just happen, but we've had 6 major bank failures this year. Some
of the biggest in U.S. history back in March, and that was due to all of these unrealized losses. The banks were convinced to buy U.S. Treasuries, which are supposed to be the safest investment in the world, at lower interest rates, almost near zero. And then when interest rates started to rise dramatically in the last couple of years, and then you have to realize and sell your bond, you have to realize those losses. And just real quick, the banks today are sitting on $648 billion of unrealized losses. And the only reason why it's less than $1 trillion is they took Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and First Republic Bank, all of their unrealized losses, and they just took those off the list.
Remove them.
Let's just take it off. They don't exist anymore. So the banks are still in a very precarious situation. They have basically collapsed already. The banking system is a scam as we know it, and it's basically just being slow walked, kept alive by more fake money, more programs, more repo markets and bank thrift lending programs, more fake money. And it's just eventual that another problem with the banks happens. We're actually even bailing out Japanese banks now.
crazy.
I heard last week that the Federal Reserve is bailing out a Japanese bank. How does that even make sense?
For what? And, while all of these banks are collapsing or in trouble, there are a couple of things to bring up. Number one is that most of the banks are worried about being big businesses and doing DEI, right? Instead of
DEI. And you know what's so crazy, Jen? They allow these banks to trade derivatives.
Yeah.
And you're talking about $70 trillion of derivatives at one bank like J.P. Morgan Chase, the biggest sleaze bucket of all the banks, J.P. with Jamie Dimon, okay? And I guess they're going to come out with the people who are participating in the Jeffrey Epstein case with the
It's going to be a
paperwork.
New Year's present, yeah.
Wow, this is going to be real surprising who's on that list.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to eventually see more of the same. Mike was commenting today. He's driving around all these commercial real estate properties,
Empty.
for half empty. Who's going to end up paying for that? So the banking situation of 2023 and beyond is another reason why people should be converting some of their assets and getting it out of the bank and converting it to gold.
Yeah, and you want to be able to get to your money when you need it. You don't want to rely on those banks still having the open sign on their front door. If you're thinking about jumping in to getting gold and precious metals, Midas Gold Group is a great spot to go, a great resource. 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD, MidasGoldGroup.com. All right, as we review through these stories, the BRICS nations coming together, getting far, far away from the dollar. Explain to people who don't know these countries. It's Brazil, it's Russia,
India, China, South Africa, and then they're joined by 6 other countries and a lot of the biggest oil producers of the world, like the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Iran. So you're talking about countries that have a lot of population, a lot of natural resources, and they're kind of tired of what the United States has put them through over the last few decades of being a bully, sanctioning them. We saw what the United States did to Russia with the sanctioning of the dollar and sanctioning them from the SWIFT system, weaponizing the dollar basically. Well, these countries see it. They see our debt. They see the spending. They see our leadership. They're saying to themselves, well, listen, we don't need to do business in the dollar. We don't need to buy all this United States debt. A lot of these countries are selling debt and buying gold. So the actions of the BRICS and the action of the United States dollar as losing grip of being the world reserve currency as these other countries are doing business in their own local currency, so to speak.
Which is frightening if all your money's in the dollar.
It means less value of the dollar.
Right.
And this means more reasons, the BRICS, to own gold, to diversify. So I would say the BRIC nations and their actions of 2023 is another reason people should be saying, hey, I think I should own some gold.
A rule of thumb, if China's looking to collect the gold, you should probably try to look to collect the gold.
Yeah, and they own
too.
a lot more gold than they're saying.
Yeah.
A lot more gold. So we'll see, we'll see how it plays out, but it's definitely headed in the wrong direction for the dollar. This whole country, I don't know what's happened. We've lost our way. The whole country is headed in the wrong direction, and the only thing we have to lean on now is the stock market. Where are the AI stocks? How much money are we going to plow into Wall Street? How much money are we going to spend? How big is this bubble going to get before it bursts? So I don't know. That's not a solution.
All right. So looking back, and this is our holiday spectacular here on the
This
Gold
is all
Standard.
the good news here of 2023,
I
right
know.
for Christmas there, huh?
Can't wait for 2024. But you know what? Hey, here's the good news.
Yeah.
You can actually take personal responsibility. You can actually get a portion of your earnings out of the
what a
market,
thought.
take it home so that you don't have to rely on all these ding-dongs
Well,
with
there
your
you
money,
go.
right?
Yeah.
All right, so debt. You were talking about a lot of spending, and that's how we get out of everything, right? Just print more money, spend more money, rack up more debt. That's a huge problem and issue
a new
this
record in 2023 for our debt, which is now $34 trillion. It's right under that area. The cost to service our debt is over $1 trillion a year, which is almost the size of the military budget. It's not going to end.
Yeah.
So, what's going to be the cost to service our debt when our debt is 45 or 50 trillion? The government has already said to expect $2 trillion to $3 trillion deficits for the next 10 years. Now, you're pretty good at math. If you have 34 and you do $2 trillion for the next 10 years, which is 20 trillion, what's 34 plus 20 trillion?
54 trillion
So what's going to be the cost to service our debt at this point? So the point is,
Hold on,
folks,
I got that one too. A lot.
A lot. Yeah, a lot. Basically, it doesn't make sense. It's outrageous. It's criminal. It's irresponsible. I mean, all the deficit spending, the agendas, this CARES Act, the Build Back Better, it's all BS.
Spend.
It's all excuses to print more money and keep the machine rolling. And I'll tell you what, folks, someday it is going to matter.
Yeah.
It is going to matter, and it's going to matter how much money you have outside of this system. The debt situation will matter. It's going to matter how much you can protect before everything kind of collapses, and who knows when that could happen.
Because bubbles burst. And so
They
you don't know
will burst.
when, but at some point they do.
Yes.
All right, so here's what you can do. We said personal responsibility, protect yourself, maybe set up your family, your loved ones. 855-322-GOLD is a number for Midas Gold Group. They are America First Patriots. They are veteran-owned. You can see them face-to-face in Phoenix, Arizona, or Thousand Oaks, California. But call, don't wait, 855-322-GOLD. You can always check out MidasGoldGroup.com. Or, hey, this is fun, text GOLD to 232425. Now, before we come up on a break, political chaos is next on the list. And we could talk for 14 hours about the political chaos this year, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, against former presidents, right?
Yeah.
Against January 6th people, against people who spoke out against vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
You have even the Democratic side now is involved with Hunter and his situation, and we all know who the big guy is, right?
Yeah.
So this political chaos in 2023, also with the House, with that situation, it's deep. It's not going away. One side versus another. What's this? The divided states of America?
That's right. And
It's
they turn
gonna-
us against each other.
Well, that's right.
And all they're doing is spending and racking up more debt.
Well, they understand that if we were unified, then they couldn't control us. But the point is that this political chaos is going to become political financial chaos, and it's going to become, economic chaos, social media chaos. It's not going to end. It's just less confidence in the United States from other countries, less confidence in what we're doing, less value in strong currency,
Yeah.
more debt, so more chaos.
And
The ultimate chaos asset. What is the ultimate chaos asset?
what is the ultimate chaos asset?
Gold.
Gold. I love it.
The ultimate chaos asset.
What you
is
can
gold.
hold to avoid it, right? It keeps you grounded. That's what you can do. Precious metals, gold and silver are great to consider right now as we're running through all of the craziness that has been 2023. Contact Midas Gold Group, 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD, or MidasGoldGroup.com. More items on this list. Our holiday spectacular on the Gold Standard Radio Show with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.
Dr. Gorka here. You're listening to The Gold Standard with your hosts, Ken Russo from veteran-owned Midas Gold Group and Jennifer Horn. Owning private money in the form of physical gold and silver is perhaps more important than ever to your long-term financial security. As U.S. banks fail, the Biden administration sends hundreds of billions abroad while depleting our strategic oil reserves. However, the biggest financial threat may be coming from within: central bank digital currency. The patents have been filed and the big banks have released plans for implementation. Midas Gold Group sees tyrannical implications, the end of cash, the end of financial privacy, big government able to see your every purchase. Could there be ties to social credit? Hear more commentary on the political and economic issues that affect your financial security right here on the Gold Standard. You can create your own Gold Standard with a call to Midas Gold Group, 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653, MidasGoldGroup.com.
Welcome back to the Gold Standard Radio Show with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to all of you from all of us here at the Gold Standard.
Absolutely.
Ken, so nice to be with you for our holiday year-end spectacular.
Very grateful.
Yeah.
Yes,
And we've
absolutely.
got-
It's been a
look,
good year.
Even though financially it's a little doom and gloom, there are things that you can do to protect yourself. You can bring gold and precious metals into your home, and you can protect yourself against all the chaos that's on the outside. And so today we're going through kind of a review of what happened in 2023 and why, considering gold, it's now the right time. Don't wait another minute. And up next on our list, and we saw a couple of these this year, is war. And unfortunately, nobody likes to say that, but we've seen it ongoing in Ukraine, new war in the Middle East, and it doesn't seem like the burn is getting slower.
Yeah, and I think they just released the aircraft carriers to the Red Sea today to protect that situation. So, yeah, I mean, that's not going to end.
Yeah.
I mean, who's next? China, Iran?
Hopefully not.
Well, I mean, something's going to be. I mean, it's the military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower was warning us about in the 50s.
That's right.
It's not going to be stopped. I mean, it's too big a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's too easy of a way to launder money back to the defense companies. You know, so $1.9 trillion the Pentagon can't account for. So the Pentagon just did their 6th audit in a row, which they failed, of course. And they can't account for $1.9 trillion of assets. How is that even possible?
And I get mad when I lose $20 out of my wallet. Can you imagine?
It's just outrageous. And it's unfortunate because we all know who's going to be left holding the bag. And all these things that are happening, these are the facts. This is what's going on. I mean, back in 2002, when we started the war on terror, President Bush at that time said that it was going to cost us $75 billion. It ended up costing $8 trillion.
Amazing.
So, I mean, we all know where this is headed. Unfortunately, more debt, more spending, more debt, more spending. I mean, it's a broken record. And eventually, it's like a game of musical chairs. It's all fun, and as long as you have a chair.
As long as your seat's there.
Yeah. Eventually, there's not going to be a chair available, and then what are you going to do?
And you know who likes to watch us scramble for the chair, and those are our foreign adversaries. You don't think that China loves to watch us throw money into a multitude of wars? They love that because they know that it weakens us, and that's what they're waiting for.
Us out of the way is going to make it a lot easier and a lot more profitable for other parts of the world. So.
Okay, so next up on the list, you've got to answer this question because I have heard economists saying we are in a recession, we are not in a recession, no recession, but recession's coming. What in the heck is going on? Because you hear that R word an awful lot, but it seems depending on who you talk to, there's different answers.
Yeah, and I don't even know if we can believe the numbers that are coming out. Right. They're so skewed. I mean, they end up revising them 6 months, a year later, the whole year. So, I mean, what's the sense? People are trading off of these numbers. Is the Fed going to do this? Are they not going to do this? Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, we all know how this is going to play out. And it doesn't have a happy ending when it comes to our money. We all know that. There's going to be another situation like it was 2008. The 2008 subprime crisis was never fixed. All they did was just kick the can down the road.
Wait a second. You're telling me they just kicked the can down the road? That doesn't sound like our government at all.
I mean, how many trillions since then have been printed, and how many trillions of debt has been loaned out, and it's not going to, it's the only thing that's keeping things going. So why has there been no recession yet? Well, who knows? Maybe there has been, and it'll come out. But we all know that stuff is costing a lot more. Yep. We all know that eventually these higher interest rates are going to affect the real estate and the housing market. The question is just when. And you can't prepare for this stuff because you don't know exactly when that moment is going to be. So you have to make those preparations now. You have to kind of understand you got to do this and then just kind of wait. So the point is get some money out of the system while you can. Get some money out of your IRA, get some money out of your 401k, diversify, get some distance between yourself and all the lies of what's going on with the banking system and the economy and these inflation numbers.
Yep.
So it's all nonsense. They talk about inflation is over. It's not. All that's happening is that the rate of inflation is slowing down a little bit until eventually it picks up again. What's going to happen to inflation when they start spending trillions more that we don't have? What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to go up.
Absolutely.
I think we can feel it. And, you know, we kind of combined our next topic there. Inflation is up next on the list. But I think it's really important because you said something that is so right on. And that is that we don't even know what's true because everything gets skewed or they revise numbers. We only know what we feel. And we only know what we feel when we go buy things or we try to get an interest rate for a loan of some kind. We know what we feel. And so what you can do is remove yourself from the chaos You take that personal responsibility, you bring some control back, whether it's within an IRA, a portion of that, you put it in precious metals, you put it in gold and silver, and you can do it with our friends, Midas Gold Group. They are incredible. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653. You can text as well, GOLD to 232425.
And I think the American people understand that we're reaching a breaking point.
Yep.
They're not ignorant. They're not blind to the fact of what's going on. And they understand that eventually we're going to be desperate. And then maybe the government is counting on this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get everybody so desperate, or let's tear the system down the way it is. So then we can provide a solution. Then that solution is probably going to be a CBDC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there was more news in 2023 about 114 countries developing, actively pursuing a central bank digital currency. So if you're forced into this kind of digital system, then
Which
you're
is very
stuck.
possible.
Then you're stuck.
Right.
So the point is you don't want to be in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an answer. We don't have a crystal ball, but we can see the writing is on the wall. So make those moves now. You know, diversify your assets.
Mm-hmm.
That's where gold and silver comes in, because no matter what, Jen, happens to the system, no matter what it's worth, our money, no matter what they do, you know you'll at least have that gold and you'll at least have that silver. $1 worth of gold 20 years ago is now worth $8 worth of gold.
Amazing.
$1 worth of silver 20 years ago is now worth $6 worth of silver. $1 20 years ago is now worth 55 cents.
Which way do you want to go, up or down?
But that's the relationship.
Yeah.
So if $1 20 years ago is now worth 55 cents and our dollar lost about 20% buying power just in the last 3 years at least, what's going to happen when the debt is 50 trillion?
That's right.
So they're going to print so much more money. And like I mentioned to you, you just started at the end of this year, 2023, hearing about, well, we have to save the world now. We have to save it through climate control. There's a climate crisis. So where are those tens of trillions going to come from too?
Printers.
Out of thin air.
And you know, and by the way, what you're saying is absolutely right. Prepare yourself. Be prepared. Be personally responsible. Bring some stability into your investments with gold and precious metals. 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-4653. But before we move on, the central bank digital currency that you're talking about. It's all numbers. Let's be real. It's all pieces of paper, whether it's digital numbers on a computer
digital
screen,
fiat or paper fiat,
or it's paper. I mean, it's all just numbers essentially.
Right. And a lot of the system now is already digital, but with the CBDC, it's about control and it's about monitoring.
And
it's
oversight.
About monitoring.
So think about how many of us, if we are conservative this year, might have felt limited on social media, or limited by where we can go if we didn't get a vaccine, or limited by what we said with the government overreach into us about their version of what is truth and what's misinformation. Do you really want them to have access to your wallet?
Not all of it. I mean, obviously you have to have some living expense money or something, but that's the point. Get some purchasing power outside of this system while you still can. And we didn't even mention in 2023, some of the largest property developers in China went bankrupt. You're talking about a global situation here where in 2023, folks, I don't care what the price of Microsoft is. I don't care what the Dow Jones Industrial is trading at. It's all manipulated. It's all manipulated, and ultimately it's just paper. It's just digits.
Yep.
The point being is that 2023, unfortunately and financially, worsened in the United States of America, and it worsened globally as more debt was taken on, and in my opinion, more risk. So 2023 represented to me one step closer to a very important breaking point. I expect next year to see serious financial fireworks when it comes to our economy and our markets. And you better prepare now.
Don't wait.
Because we may not have an opportunity in January or February or March to diversify. You better make those moves now, and then we'll wait and see what happens when the dust settles.
But be prepared. Make the moves now, as Ken Russo just suggests. Call Midas Gold Group today. Don't wait. 855-322-4653. 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. You can text gold to 23, 24, 25. And always check out the website, MidasGoldGroup.com.
And thanks to everybody for listening all year. Thanks for being great clients, you know. Thanks for being respectful. We're very grateful. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone listening.
And you know what? We get through all of this stuff together. You know what?
We will
Bring it on,
We're going to come out of this
2024.
better at one point. You just don't want to be financially destroyed during that process.
Exactly right. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all of you. It's a Gold Standard Radio Show with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.